Should you stay in one hot spot, in one, as I call them, sweet spot when you are out doing food delivery? There are some people on YouTube here that teach you to find one spot to go to do your food delivery in and go to that same spot all the time and primarily work in only one area. Today I want to talk to you about whether or not you should have one spot that you go to, or if you should have multiple different spots that you work in. And I kind of want to tell you why this is really important too. My name is John McFall, and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel, where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery, and I also teach you how to make online income. Today I want to talk to you about working your marketplace, especially for those of us that work in bigger marketplace. I work here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is the second biggest city in Indiana that I work in. And I also work here in Auburn, Indiana, which is a really small marketplace. There's literally one area that I can work in, one sweet spot, as I call them, that I can go to get orders on a consistent basis. In Auburn, it's because there is only one place where all the restaurants are. However, when I go down here to Fort Wayne, when I take a look at this marketplace, there are a lot of different areas that I can go work to do food delivery. And today I kind of want to talk to you about why I work with multiple, what I call sweet spots. I'm going to tell you what they are, but I'm also going to tell you why I actually have multiple places in my marketplace and what the benefits are of having them, so that you understand why you should have more than one and not just work in one specific area every time you go out there to do food delivery. So want to break it down for you today and talk to you about why I do this. So as I said, there's some people out here on YouTube that tell you to find one area in your marketplace, and they tell you to find an area that is what they call a power strip or a hot zone, or I call them sweet spots. And basically what this means is this is an area that you go to that has the right restaurants, it has the right neighborhoods, and it has the right things that you need to be able to go into that particular area to grab orders all the time. I've also seen people recommend that when you get to that area, if it is not producing, that you sit there and wait for orders to come and hit your phone. I don't agree with this at all, because I'm out here to make money. The time I put out here is specifically to make money, and it's time that I take away from other things like my family and hobbies and other things like that. And if I were to go to one spot every time I went out to work food delivery, and if that spot wasn't producing, I'm wasting that time that I took to go out there. So this is one of the biggest reasons that I suggest that you don't use only one spot every time that you go out, and that you have multiple spots to go to if your marketplace will sustain it. Because as I said, in Auburn here, I cannot go to any other than the one area because it's a small marketplace. But when I'm in here in Fort Wayne, if you look at the map here, I have 5 different what I call sweet spots. Some people call them power strips, some people call them hot zones, but I have 5 different areas in my marketplace that's Fort Wayne, because I don't want to just sit there waiting for that good order to hit my phone. If an area isn't giving me good orders, then I will move to another area that is going to provide those orders. Food delivery is a industry that goes up and down. There's some days when you go out into a power strip or a hot zone or a sweet spot, and that area is producing a whole lot. You get orders pinging your phone, you get good orders pinging your phone, and you can work that area the whole shift. This is true. If that is happening in that spot, then yes, go ahead and work that area. However, when I go into Fort Wayne, demographically, I live north of Fort Wayne, so when I go into Fort Wayne here, I always go to the same sweet spot first, because this is the first one that I run into when I'm driving down into the marketplace. When I'm driving down into the marketplace, I watch my phone on the apps and see what they are producing. If I'm driving down into that marketplace and I get to that first zone and it starts popping, I start getting a lot of orders hitting my phone, I'll go ahead and work that area. However, there's a lot of times when I go into this hot zone, this sweet spot, and it is not producing for me. So what do I do in this situation? I continue going down the road out of that sweet spot and I go to my next one. If that one's not producing, I go to my next one. And when I finally get to that one that's really hitting and I'm getting really good orders at, then I will start working that area until I don't see orders coming in on my phone. After you've been doing food delivery for a while, you're going to find that food delivery, it's very seasonal. In my first hotspot here at the top of Fort Wayne that I was talking about, the best time for me to work this marketplace is when snow is coming down and it's really cold outside. This is a very affluent area of Fort Wayne. There's a hospital, a really big hospital, a major hospital that's in this area, and there's a lot of affluent people that live in this area, the higher end of society. So when it's really cold and snowy out, the people that live in this area, they like to order food delivery because they don't want to go out into the weather to get their food, and they want people to bring it to them. Now, when it starts to get warmer, these people that live in these areas, they take vacations, they've got lake houses, they've got things that they do that make them not want to order food delivery consistently when it's warmer out. So my recommendation to you is, if you are working in a marketplace, what I suggest that you do is you take a look at the apps and see how they work in your marketplace. Go throughout your marketplace and find where the best areas are on each individual app. And then what you can do is, once you've done that with DoorDash, Uber Eats, and GrubHub, you're going to start to see what I call sweet spots. And these are areas in your marketplace that you know that you can go into and determine that these are good areas that you can get orders on every platform consistently. These are what I call sweet spots. I've got the 5 that I talk about here in Fort Wayne. These are areas that I know I can go into, and all 3 apps send me decent orders in those areas. If I go to my first one and it's not hitting, then I go to the next one. Usually by time I get to my second or third sweet spot, I am starting to see orders come in. The good thing also about having multiple sweet spots is that a lot of the good orders that these platforms send us, they require us to drive a little. I can get orders where I drive 4 or 5 or 6 miles to deliver an order, and they're paying me $12 or $13 or $15 to do that. And the great thing about having multiple sweet spots when you take a look at your marketplace is you can pick an order here, and then you could do that 5 or 6 miles and land yourself in another one of your sweet spots so that you can make more money. If you sit in a single hot zone or power strip when you're out here doing food delivery, you're going to be tethered to that area, and you're only going to be taking certain distance orders because you want to make sure you don't go too far from that area. I don't do that. I take a look at the orders, I see what the dollars is, I see what the miles is, and I see where it is landing me. If it's taking me from one of my good sweet spots and it's dumping me into one of my other sweet spots, I won't hesitate to grab an order that might be a little bit longer because they are paying me better money to take that order. The great thing about it too is if you take these kinds of orders, you're actually saving yourself time, because if you take just small short orders all the time, you're constantly having to go to restaurants and pick up orders and go to restaurants and pick up orders. And my point is if you take longer distance orders that are paying higher, then you're not taking as much time because you get an order and and it takes you a certain amount of time to go from that restaurant to the drop-off. Whereas if you sit in one area and all you grab is small orders, then you are going to have to pick up an order, go drop it off, drive back to a restaurant, pick up an order, go drop it off, and you're doing a lot more work and taking a lot more time. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's video and learned a little bit. If you are working in a bigger marketplace that has multiple areas that you can get orders on all of the platforms, then find out what those areas are in your marketplace and use those areas to make more money. You can go from one sweet spot to another and be making money the whole night, and you can be making better money than if you're just sitting in one single area. I would also like to remind you that down here in my description I have some great tools for you. The one I want to talk to you about today is my Metric Spreadsheet. If you want to know how well you're doing when you're out here doing food delivery and you want to see where you need to improve, it starts by keeping track of your numbers. I put together this free download for you guys so that you can have a copy of it for yourself, and I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can check it out. If you look at the left-hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total time that I've worked. I also put in the miles, and then if you head to the right, you'll see for each individual app, I put the dollars that I've made, the time that I worked, along with the number of deliveries. Head to the bottom and you'll see it calculates out what your average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, and your average per delivery. If you want to know how well you're doing and see where you need to improve, it starts by downloading this Metric Spreadsheet and start keeping track of those numbers. I'd also like to ask you to like this video and to subscribe to my channel. Finally, I want to leave you with, I hope that you are out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.